Modus has been in business for nearly 9 years now, and we have employed about 200 people at its peak, 42 different countries, 3 different offices.
Incredible.
99% of the individuals, the souls that work at Modus, work from home.
Mm-hmm.
What has your experience been like working with Modus from home? Like, what are some of the high points, and what are some of the low points?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, working remotely with Modus is by far the best experience. So I've worked in a number of organizations where I worked remotely, at least part-time,
Mm-hmm.
and that was tough. So for anybody considering going fully remote for the first time, it's something to consider. It's different than part-time remote or full-time in the office. Is very, very different. And so, when you're working part-time and the majority of your team is co-located or in an office, there's this pressure that you're visible and not forgotten, and that can be a really tough thing to deal with. At Modus, doesn't exist because we're all 100% remote and we're all alone in our home offices, right? And so you have to work extra hard to build the community sense that you don't feel alone. Some in our remote life channel, we sometimes talk about, how do you deal with loneliness? How do you deal with children?
Yes.
who happen to be at home,
yes.
right? Safe boundaries. And so building those boundaries are going to be very important. So whether that's you leave the house every day and you go to a co-working location, you go to a coffee shop,
Mm-hmm.
or, you're in your bunny slippers on your front porch, doesn't matter to us as long as it's quiet when you have conference calls and you can otherwise concentrate and be productive, right? But some of those challenges is drawing those boundaries with your family and your friends who think, oh, so-and-so works from home now, so I can ask them to run errands in the middle of the day, or, they work from home, so they're just folding laundry all day long. And I'm like, okay, sorry, I don't get distracted.
Yes.
I don't get distracted by needing to fold laundry in the middle of my day. Mm-hmm. Maybe some people do. Mm-hmm. That's not my thing. And some people just don't feel like they can work at home because that's home.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just...
They need to have a separation.
They need to have a separation. And so for me personally, I have built an office for myself within a particular part of my house. And there's a door. There's actually 2 doors. And they both have to be shut. If a door creeps open and I can hear the house, I stop everything and go and close the door because I'm in my zone. Mm-hmm. I'm in Modus land. And when I walk through that threshold, I am at work. And I get really annoyed.
Really? Triggered?
I can sometimes be triggered because it feels like almost disrespectful to a degree. Like, no, imagine me, I'm in King of Prussia. I'm in wherever. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm at work.
Yes.
I'm not doing this, or this, or this right now. I'm at work. And sometimes, and one of the values of working remotely is being able to deal with stuff when you need to. Right? And so the repairman's coming. So block 15 minutes. I know I'm expecting somebody to come and I got to deal with something. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't have to take time off of work.
Right.
You just work a little bit later, in the day.
Adjust your schedule.
You just adjust it. You just flex, and it's very fluid. But you have to be careful too that you're not working all hours, ungodly hours, all the time, because that's not great either. So being able to understand yourself to the degree that you can create a safe space for yourself to work and be productive, and still meet those hours requirements depending on your time zone and the needs of the client. It's super important too. And balancing all of those things and crafting that office space for yourself is going to be critical for your success.
Right.
Yeah, we've had individuals who have struggled, and we realize, you know what, buddy? You need to build a door.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You need a door. That's the advice. And in remote life, it's time for a door. Or I remember Pat sharing a story about how he built with the If This Then That app, a light that's visible to his household, so that when he is working remotely and it's hooked up to his calendar, right? And so whenever there's an event on the calendar, the light will go on and says, "Hey family, DND."
Right.
And I just love that. And that even, one of our co-founders has to struggles with that, but
right.
like grapples with it, and it's a thing. It's
Yeah.
a very real thing, and everybody understands. Everybody gets that. And so, if you need tips and tricks,
Yeah.
come to the Remote Life channel and ask, because we've got a million of them.
That's great. Some of the challenges I run into is this office. I have a desk that moves up and down.
Mm-hmm.
In my home office, it's not like that. It's similarly a mess. My wife would probably argue otherwise. She'd probably say it's more of a mess. But really, like, I don't have the choice to move up or down. So I do find that sometimes I do have to stand up. And I can tell you, I've gone a marathon of 4.5 hours without getting up. And at my age, it's not the greatest thing. But it just like that, the ability to have that focus is like that to me is where I really need to focus. I go home, but I also struggle with that as well. Dogs barking. And I mean, I create the boundaries, and the cats don't care.
Cats don't care.
You're scratching at the door.
Cats don't
exactly,
care.
you're scratching at the door.
Yeah.